And it was really influenced by the first couple of weeks after that, because I was with a lot of my friends who had Saudi passports. And you know, I have a British passport, but it's okay, but these guys didn't. I hang out with everyone. But after that period, I just hung out with them, and this really inspired this film that I wanted to make, where I was suddenly something that we'd always lived with was, you know, we always worried that someone's going to misconstrue our identity or think that we're something that we're not. But then it got taken to like 20 notches higher when you're there. So what I did was I thought, okay, I really want to talk about things like people going missing, abduction, black sites, all these sort of terrible things that are happening. But I wanted to do that in the context of my reality, and I imagined what would happen if someone I knew went missing. And then this feature that I'm making, the New York one, is really similar to the short film, but it sort of takes it a bit further into like now sort of living with his emotions, but also years later with how that's now become just a reality, not just a quick panic. You know, this is actually how we live, how the world lives now with this whole war on terror, and how this is now just the norm, really. My technique is that it's how I place things. It's like who's in the frame, who's saying what are they wearing, what is the social situation, what is the emotional situation. You know, there's a scene I love, one of my favourite scenes, and they're in the bathroom at a charity benefit, and they're all these fantastic dresses, and there's this Russian supermodel who is the ex-fiancé of the guy that has just been taken by the CIA, the Saudi. And she is telling Asya, the lead character, and her best friend Athena, who's like a Greek-English sort of shipping girl, in this bathroom that Faisal has gone missing. And throughout the whole shot, there's this Peruvian lady silently sitting in the corner giving people serviettes after they've washed their hands. And for me, that's what I love about film. It says it all, really. I think that everyone expresses themselves through what they wear, whether they are aware of it or not. You know, and I don't believe that people say, oh, I don't care, I just do that on. Well, if you just do that on, you're saying something about who you are and what you think and how you express yourself. And I think part of the fun of being an artist is that you really get to have fun with what you wear, because for me, it's a total expression of who I am and you know, how I see myself a particular morning, or mood I'm in. And I think that really affects costume. It's so important for film. And I don't understand, a lot of young directors nowadays don't really care about costume, and I don't understand that, because that's a whole entire character, is their costume. I mean, whether you like it or not, it's just a reality. I think I just am a really strong woman, and without sounding like, you know, I'm not like, I am a strong woman, I wear a miniskirt. No, I mean, like, I don't see a difference between me and any other person. You know, I don't differentiate through gender. I think this is the existential question of the 21st century. How do we as women work in a world where men are supposed to have brought into equality, but they really haven't, you know? And I do think that, yes, it can be really tough. That's something you've got to come to terms with, how you navigate that as a woman, you know? Like, what is my goal? My goal is to make this film. Am I going to just get over it and hope that this Neanderthal will hopefully one day be enlightened? Yes, that's basically what you have to do. And then you know, you've got all this like male testosterone on set, you know, like guys who are like, come on, just move it, we gotta move it now, choose a shot now. It's like, just relax, will you? I'm just gonna do this in my own time. Can someone make him go away, you know? And that's another thing you've got to deal with. But I suppose you're in control of the director, and we just have to assume that role, and we just assume it, and everything falls into place. I have a very strong voice, and I tell my story in my way, and I don't necessarily know how to articulate that, because it's just something that comes to me. It's very much who I am. I mean, I'm a Bosnian, Palestinian, Jordanian, Lebanese girl, brought up in London from war correspondent television news parents who are left-wing, and I was brought up in probably the most poncy area in London. You know, like, I mean, that just basically says it all. When I arrive in Amman, the smell gets me in hits me in my stomach. There's this like desert air smell that I don't know where I get it from, but it's like communicates with my soul. It's really interesting. And there's something on a very deep level, there's a really deep connection that I have with the country.
Your grandfather?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. He's here.
He was born in Lebanon?
Yeah, in Baalbek. And then he had to flee because the French imprisoned him for his poetry and his political associations. And then he came to Jordan, there was nothing here, and then he stayed and kind of helped build up the place.
So he was the first one to move in Jordan?
Yeah, he's the first one. I mean, he's Lebanese originally. And this is my
so this is where you get your Lebanese roots from?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is my granny, she was Turkish. But you know, there's a better picture of her over there, actually. On the wall. This one. This is a good one of her.
She does look Turkish.
That's my granny.
And who's on the right side of her?
That's her when she was younger.
Okay.
I hope that the voices that aren't heard can be heard, really, and that we can create a dialogue in that way. It sounds so super airy-fairy, PC, you know, but I don't believe in all these documentaries being made, which are like, yeah, let's put an Israeli kid and a Palestinian kid and then like see if they become friends. I'm not into that. I just want people to be able to express themselves. Not that there's anything wrong with coexistence, that would be wonderful, but I don't think you get to that by forcing people to coexist. You have to get people to be familiar with what you're trying to talk about, familiar with these characters, I think to humanize us. I mean, we're so dehumanized as Arabs.
I make films because I need to create something. I need to create. I mean, it's the same reason I write, or I write poetry, or I do anything about creating a world that's necessary. And then to be very specific, I think the reason I make films, there's a South American director named Miguel Litin who, for me, put it absolutely perfect. The cinema defends life, and I completely, that's how I feel, that cinema defends life. All my work has something to do with Palestine, but that's not a choice. It's not okay, I have to do a film about Palestine, I have to do a story. That's just what I know and what comes naturally. But I am interested. I mean, there are themes that definitely reoccurring